I challenge you again, another challenge, because I love challenges. Step through that fear. Step through that fear. Like straight up, step through that fear and like really embrace every one of your feelings. And you'll realize that the more that you share with people who care about you, who are gonna be open, people you're connected with,
Right.
none of your feelings are weird or crazy or whatever. They're usually the norm. The thing is, in the society that we live in, most people don't really talk about that.
No.
And regardless of the culture, like most people don't talk about this stuff. So know that when you start bringing it up, most of the time, what I've gotten personally is like, oh yeah, I felt that before. I'm like, what, really? And taking that risk, that's what true courage looks like. I want us to remember that courage is not the lack of fear. It's doing things regardless of fear, because it might feel scary, especially if you never opened up before, especially if you actually never reached out to someone. You like, hey, help. Hey, can I tell you about how I'm been feeling? Like
Yeah.
that can be really scary. That can even be painful in and of itself. But courage, and know that we all have that courage within us, and we can step through that. That it's really doing things when we're scared and just doing it anyway. Because after you do step through that fear, after you do ask for that help, I know that Christina mentioned it before, you feel so much better. Like you feel
Yes,
so
you do.
good. Like almost like I
You
almost
do.
right away you're like, oh wow, I really did that. That wasn't really that hard. And then like you can really start opening up. Like and I love the phrase opening up, because you really truly feel open. Like you don't feel contracted anymore. You feel
Yeah.
like the world is more open. You start seeing more opportunities around you. You start seeing more
There you
beauty
go.
around you.
Hmm.
So I challenge you again, another challenge, because I love challenges. Step through that fear. Step through that fear. Like straight up, step through that fear and like really embrace every one of your feelings. And you'll realize that the more that you share with people who care about you, who are gonna be open, people you're connected with,
Right.
none of your feelings are weird or crazy or whatever. They're usually the norm. The thing is, in the society that we live in, most people don't really talk about that. And
No.
regardless of the culture, like most people don't talk about this stuff. So know that when you start bringing it up, most of the time, what I've gotten personally is like, oh yeah, I felt that before. I'm like, what, really? I'm like, you know, okay,
Thanks.
wait a second. And then
Thanks.
you can start feeling like a human, because we're all human. We all like most emotions like are human, because we all experience almost the same umbrella of emotions. Like
Hmm.
not at the same times or whatever, but we throughout life we tend to experience a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And through connection, through opening up, through being brave and courageous to step into our light, that's how we can really unlock all of the beauty that's within us, and again move away from identifying from our emotions, because we don't have to. Understand that emotions are the clouds and you are the sky. At the end of the day, you are the sky. It's gonna pass. Better days are coming. And if you're up, sorry to give you some bad news, but you're gonna have to experience some struggles in the future. So be prepared for that. Like be even excited for that. You're like, okay, cool. Like I know that like eventually, if I'm just like the stock market, if you're just going up, up and up and up, you're eventually gonna experience a crash, and that's okay. And it doesn't even have to be a crash, you know, just a low moment in your life.
Yeah.
Maybe something happens to your car or like whatever. Like you'll experience a low moment, and that's a time for us to practice where we're learning and really just embrace every situation, embrace every emotion, and that way feel life to the fullest. Because when you're at those low moments, embrace them, remember them, because when you're in the top, you're like, wow, I remember when I wasn't feeling this good. I
Yeah.
remember, and like I remember when I was really down, like my car broke down, like like I broke up, like whatever it might have been. And look how I'm feeling now. You appreciate it more. So appreciate the low moments just as much as you appreciate the highs. Again, that's going back to that judgment. Do not judge situations as negative or positive. Emotions are negative or positive. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, like just they are. Just accept what is, or do something about it if you can. Of course, like we have those two options: accept what is or do something about it. But if we can't do something about it, which usually is the case for our emotions that we're feeling, which are automatic responses to the environment or situation,
yeah,
just let it be. Allow those clouds to pass and continue to live your best life.
no, absolutely, man. It's funny too when you said that. I want to touch on something else, but I want to say this to the last point you're mentioning. I always talk about something. There's this one model of therapy some people do called dialectical behavior therapy, and there's this one concept that's always very hard to understand in terms of accepting it. It's very clear, but it's hard to practice. It's called radical acceptance. To your point of what you were just saying, meaning some things that I may experience in life I can't do anything about. Now, if you think of it in context of like other people, right? Like I can't change the way that you feel. I can't change the way that you think. I have to learn to accept you as you are. If you're willing to make some changes and I can be a part of those changes, great. But I can't expect you to change because it is your decision if you want to or not. So I must radically accept that. Why? Because it helps me to have peace. I'm not going to have all this resistance towards you if I want to keep you in my life. I'm not going to have all this resistance and tension and hostility towards you all the time because I'm like, damn, I need you to be like this. Can you just stop doing that? Because it's not helpful. But they're at a different point in life. They may not be at the same point that we are to make some of these adjustments, to make some of these connections, right? That's going on. I have to accept that. So it's a simple concept, but it's very, very hard to practice because you have to do that with everybody. Everybody, you have to do that to try to give that non-judgmental approach. The same way you would do with your feelings. Because if you judge the feeling, then you're kind of saying, I'm not allowed to have that feeling. And then I'm just going to internalize it and push it down. That's not healthy. I got to feel it. And to your other point, this is the other point I wanted to go back to that you said. That when I have that community and I open up and I share, that's beautiful. Because then you realize, to Giselle's point earlier, saying that she feels like she's an alien walking by herself all the time. We're not. We're not. So many of us have the same feelings and similar experiences, not the same, but similar experiences, but we don't know because, like you said, we don't talk about it. But if you get to do the work that I do and I get to talk to these people, I'm like, listen, and this might seem like I swear I'm not trying to make this seem like it's super ideal because it's not. In the same day, I can have 4 different people that I work with and they could have each made the same point. They don't even know each other. This person's talking about feeling alone, and this person said it another way that they're alone, and this person said they're also feeling alone. In a row, they don't know that because they're not me, but I do. I'm like, listen, for everybody that's out there that doesn't, you might not have that privilege, and it is a privilege, to talk to different people who are walking these different stages of life. We are so much more alike than different, and much more alike than you might be thinking, even in your lowest of points. To Carlos's point, even when the cars broke down. I remember when I used to be calculating how much the bill was going to be at the grocery store when you put everything on that belt. And you're like, damn, I hope I can pay for it. You know, I remember those days. Like they were yesterday. I never want to forget them because I've come so far from those times. But let me also empathize with other people who may be at a similar point. Let me also, if somebody else shares something else that they got going on, maybe that would encourage me to also share a bit about what my challenges are. And then we realize, hey, we're building some type of community because we understand each other somewhat, right? Even if we're at different ages, different ethnic backgrounds, we come from different countries, whatever. There's a lot of that's in common, but we just kind of gloss over it thinking we're so different, or because we don't say it in the same way to each other. We're like, oh no, that's something different. I'm like, no, man. We're a lot more similar than you may be thinking. So the point is, the more I allow myself to feel those feelings, then the more like I can communicate with other people who may also validate me and affirm how I feel, and I can validate and affirm them, which feels great. Now I'm building up that sense of community that I talk to them about other stuff. And maybe we do activities that are fun and feel fulfilling in life. Wouldn't that be nice if we could all have that, some version of that in our life?
It would be so nice. I'm gonna just jump to the conclusion. Yes, it would be so nice.